got a field of 11 and are going to be racing in here. The 3 public sector is scratching, reportedly going to stay at Belmont for the grade 3 poker. So I guess Chad wants to get the exacta with Mason on top in that spot. Speaking of Chad Brown, he's won this race the last 5 years. So do you put all your money on the one horse that's left in here, Sacred Life, or does Rock Emperor Light not make your ticket?
He made my ticket. We just
of course
talked
he did. He's
about,
Rock Emperor Light.
Well, we also just talked about like the lack of class in the other one. There ain't much in here either. Okay, let's be honest. Like compared to who Sacred Life was facing before, and this is not my top horse, but compared to who he's facing before, Lempador comes back, runs well. 2 Emmys, Satine, Cavalry Charge even comes back to run well. Colonel Liam, Never Surprised, Space Traveler, Field Pass. I mean, like those are all heavy favorites in this race. So I'm not going to say that I agree with you. He's Rock Emperor Light, but he's Rock Emperor Light facing a grade 3 field, not facing a grade 1 field. So
also true.
He's a properly placed Rock Emperor. How about that? I guess Rock Emperor has won a grade 1, so I can't go after him too much. But I'm going to go with the horse who has no rider right now.
We know the rider now.
Who is it?
Well, so hat tip to Jared for finding this out. Public sector scratching. Johnny Velasquez doesn't have a mount. He's going to ride the 5, Ever Dangerous. John Velasquez and George Weaver on the turf. Are you effing kidding me? Let's go, baby.
Yeah, he was my top pick before it was John Velasquez. I like this horse so much I didn't know the rider and I put it on top. Look, George Weaver, sneaky good turf trainer. This horse, this spot, makes me believe he thinks this horse can absolutely fire a monster effort. That last effort at Saratoga was very, very, very good. He had all kinds of trip trouble down the stretch. This horse is coming back as a Kitten's Joy as a 5-year-old. Kitten's Joy generally will get better as they get older. I think you can see some logical improvement here. You've got speed. You've got the ability to sit off. You can close. I mean, to me, Ever Dangerous is Ever Dangerous in this spot. I mean, this is a very good place for him to show up. And so I have Ever Dangerous on top.
Good to see Jared in the chat too. Yeah, are we all picking the 5? Is not my top pick, is my second pick, but yes, pretty much. I love the 5 all over the place here. Dennis says I was still wishing for no jockey on the 5 lightweight. True to form with being Father's Day and everything, Mike, I had a bunch of dad jokes about how like he was going to be a lot lighter than his competition. So that's my excuse. Dennis, you're not a dad. That you
I was going to say, maybe so. Dennis is a dad. Ooh.
Dennis, I think we're learning something. I think Dennis is learning something about himself live on air here. Love everything you said about the 5. Last 6 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. Remember, he had that huge bomb win at Keeneland on Breeders' Cup Friday when he drew into the stupid stakes because somebody else, I'm not going to get into that again. That still pisses me off. That's stupid. That was like rich strike for the Breeders' Cup when that happened. My top pick, let's go to the rail. Yes, this time at 5-1. You got the top local trainer in Kelly Breen. You have the top local rider in Paco Lopez. You have a horse that's 6 for 12 lifetime on the turf with 9 in the money starts. He has been a little camera shy lately, Mike, but I think we're going to get a great price on him here, even though public sector is going to get scratched. He knocked off the 5-month layoff last time out with Paco aboard. If you ignore the 4th place finish last out in the local prep, he did show interest in the stretch. Paco's returning. That's a big sign. I think that was mostly just a start to get him back into the game, get going here for this race. He won 5 straight turf routes last year. It doesn't matter where he did it at what level. He ended up winning a stakes and then a graded stakes, but to win 5 straight turf routes protected, that's impressive. 2 times Paco was aboard. Like I mentioned, 2 of those were stakes races. I think this horse is going to get ignored a little bit on the board. I think he's very sneaky in this spot. Yes, this time.
Yeah, Chad is crushing it right now. Way to go, guys. I 100% agree that you need to use this horse. I think yes this time makes a ton of sense here. So I included yes this time as well for all the reasons you did. Not going to go into it further. We'll get to tax in a second. I promise we'll get to tax in a second.
We're going to talk about tax.
I feel like some trainers lost a bet to each other and misentered horses for this race and the next one. So maybe they were like doing shots like, you would never enter tax here. Or you wouldn't enter. Like, I can't remember. What is it? Whoever.
Who's spite in the next one? I know.
Yeah, you wouldn't enter Triple Spite on the dirt. Well, you wouldn't enter tax on the turf. And then they both hammered, put the entry box home. I like the 7 horse here, Safe Conduct a little bit. This is one that I think has a shot at wiring the field. I love that effort at Belmont, able to hold off 40 under, who's not a bad horse in his own right. $80,000 N3Xs are pretty tough at Belmont, especially in May, especially on the turf. That was after about a month off, second off the layoff as a 4-year-old. Now you're getting third off the layoff. I think this is your speed of the speed, and I'm totally willing to forgive the race before that. It was grade 2, and it was 1 mile and 3/8. We don't want to go a mile and 3/8 if we're safe conduct. All right. So just draw a line through that. Look at the last race, assume improvement. I think this horse gets the lead over Ever Dangerous, who probably sits in second or third. If safe conduct gets loose, he can beat this field.
I think he's definitely a great gate-to-wire threat, especially now that we've lost Public Sector, right? Not a horse that's a front runner, but a horse that's usually more forwardly placed. And you take that big threat out, Safe Conduct's going to should get nice, easy running like he did last time with Jose Lescano. You get that nice length and a half lead early, and everybody else in the field's going, shit. Also, by the way, the Queen's Plate winner at Woodbine last year, Safe Conduct. The only time in his life that he's been favored is the time he goes for $1 million race. Gotta love it. He's on my ticket. So I went 157 for my $2 ticket. For 50 center, I can't quit Hidden Stash, Mike. One of these times, we're going to get this horse home on this show. One of us has picked this horse 3 of the last 4 starts, I believe. And almost got the job done in the opening verse stakes, 2 back at Churchill Downs going a turf mile. All 4 turf route tries after the Derby Trail thing kind of didn't work out last year. All 4 turf tries in the money. I mentioned missed winning that stakes. By the way, Grace Fable was already a grade 3 winner. So you missed by a head to a grade 3 winner at Churchill Downs on Thurby. That's a pretty big deal. And then the turf debut was second to Cheryl Spite, who you just brought up earlier and who we're going to talk about in the next race here. Yeah, clear dirt horse. The problem with Hidden Stash and kind of what's good about Safe Conduct, I feel like Hidden Stash needs a lot of pace. And when we start losing pace horses, I'm like, God, this feels like a trifecta horse at this point. But I swear, one of these times, Hidden Stash is going to get home for us in a turf route. Maybe it's going to take Kentucky Downs. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we're going to get this horse home, Mike.
You may here. I mean, look, the price is right this time. Let's put it that way. $1.20 last time, 15 to 1 this time. I like the price much more. Probably needs to improve to win the race. Probably doesn't get the speed up front that he needs to be able to get there. So I'm not as interested in him. All right, let's talk about Tax. I can't do it anymore. Is Tax a speed threat here? Are we trying to go gate to wire? Is that the plan?
It's gotta be.
So Arch is 13% on the turf. Giants Causeway on the bottom. There is some turf breeding here. But what the hell are we doing here? Why is Tax in this race? Explain it to me, Magic.
Well, because if he wasn't, the chat would just talk about Dennis's sex life. So they're talking about Dennis's sex life and Tax.
Yeah. I'm glad there's something for the chat to talk about.
Honestly, I feel like this feels like a Mark Casse move a little bit, that Tax is returning from a very long layoff on turf. Mark Casse likes to do this with horses from a long break that are dirt horses, is put them on turf because in his eyes it's a much easier surface for them to get back into racing form and get that going again. I looked at him because I was like, well, it's a huge question mark. He's never touched turf. If you look at the breeding, Arch is a 13% turf route sire, slightly above average. The Dam won 2 times on synthetic. You would think that translates to turf. The siblings are 0 for 11 on grass, and that's 0 for 10 routing. And that's all. The 0 for 10 routing was all from one horse. That's still not good because he was at like 5K claiming level and at Mountaineer and couldn't get it done. So I'm going to pass, but it is an interesting move from Danny Gargan.
Yeah. I mean, this is one where if this started to pick 4 or pick 5, I would say watch the board. And if Tax starts getting bet down, I'd be a little more worried about Tax. I don't think Tax can get an easy lead here. I don't have any issues with the distance, though. This spot is just so odd for this to be the time after a 16th, 17th month layoff to then come back and try and put this horse on turf. It's a Kenny McPeak move, right? I just can't figure out what's going on. You're right. It could be a Casse move where he wants to get him over the grass to kind of get one in him and then go to Saratoga and hit the dirt where he's had success before. But just a weird spot to kind of show back up with this horse after a long layoff.
Yeah, it's I still think it. Tune into Blinkers Off later. Actually, listen to the podcast because Jared will have to add it in post, but he'll add the Slim mention. All right, we went through pretty much everybody here. Excuse me, is there anybody that we're not using, either of us, that because we're pretty much at least 157 here? Is there anybody else that you're not using that you're worried about?
Not really. I mean, I heard some love for TD Dance, but no thanks. I mean, the best race comes at Canterbury. It's a little deeper here. So, sorry, I like Canterbury. Just saying, best race at Canterbury. Glen County, I heard getting some love, but that to me is just it's not the price that I would take. I'd rather take a shot with Hidden Stash. I'd rather take a shot with Tax if I had to than Glen County. So yeah, I feel like I'm pretty well covered here.